Welcome to another edition of the 21st Century Reformation Hour. The current issue here now is dated January 10. We're about ready to send it to the printer. This week we're featuring a book called Power, Politics, and the Missouri Synod by Dr. James Berkey, forward by Dr. Martin Marty, published by Fortress Press. It's due out February the 3rd. We've ordered some copies, and it's available from Christian News. You have to charge $26. It's a rather expensive book. Now, it's a very interesting book. It gives you a little different insights of what's been going on behind scenes. Before they printed it, the Fortress Press came to me and asked me to sign a statement that I wouldn't take any legal action against the publisher or against the author, because they say quite a bit about me in there. And some of it isn't really quite correct. I think he was misled, the author. A nice, pleasant fellow. He spent here some time in my office going through my files, finding all kinds of information which he found quite interesting. I let him have free course, no problem. We have no secrets here. But anyway, I signed it, but I did say this. That doesn't mean I agree with it. But, you know, I never sued anybody, and they can say what they want. If I disagree with it, if I want to, then I can take issue with it. Right, our lead story is called Jesus Forgives Your Sins. Now, why did we get that? The current issue of the President's newsletter in the Reporter, January 2011, has this photo here, which shows some of our officials over there in Siberia. They just declared fellowship with his church, and this church now is way, in Siberia. Some of the men from the captive nations, they were here a number of years ago at my church, and they came, well, 1993 or so. And the interesting fellow, the man now who is a bishop here, he was just a recent convert from Judaism. He came to our church, and he went to my library here, and we gave him all kinds of literature, and others too. We loaded them up with a Christian News Encyclopedia, American translation of the Bible, and these men, they read. Sometimes today I wonder what all our pastors read that much. What I told him then here was, your real friends are in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Now here I said, what the LCMS has to offer the former captive nations. Jesus forgives your sins. Justification by grace through faith alone. And I pointed out in my sermon, that I have the sermon here, and that's what I printed. Imagine, just picture that here. You have these people from all over these different former captive nations countries. Our congregation has been so active in this whole area. We promoted a resolution which Synod finally adopted in 1975 for captive nations. So the thrill of us now was to have these people right there in our congregation. And that's basically the main message of this particular issue. Special issue on communism and captive nations. We also have here a reprint, The Great Holocaust Trial by Michael Hoffman. The landmark battle for the right to doubt, the West's most sacred relic. When that trial took place, we had many stories on it. We have quite a bit in our Christian News Encyclopedia, and nobody has ever once been able to find out where we didn't tell the truth. All they say, oh, you don't believe in 6 million. You must be something wrong with you. Over here, Louis Zamperini at 93, going on 94, is still unbroken after all these years. Now that's a top-selling New York Times book on the New York Times non-fiction hardcover list. It's a story about a very prominent, famous, now he's 93 years old already, Olympic champion. He tells about his meeting Hitler and all the trials of life. But he's now a committed Christian, and he testifies continually to Jesus Christ. Over here, Give Me This Mountain. That's an article that the founder of Going Ambassadors for Christ sent us, Fred Darko. He came here to our office. Over here we have, on the next pages, I have the continuations of the story. Our lead editorial is called this week, Your True Friends Are in the LCMS. Let's take off on this whole captive nation business. There are many denominations working over there now, but why are we their true friends? Because we insist on emphasizing justification by faith alone, which is what they really need. What will he do for you? Now this is a wonderful devotional by Pastor Theodore Allward. Let me just read you how it's for New Year's. None of us knows what this new year will bring into our lives, but we do know He is always forgiving me. He is always caring for me, So Lord, help me trust you so that I not only have peace, but also have determination to follow your plan faithfully as best I can all year long. Then we have a book of daily devotions by Pastor Alwer, Rattlesnakes and Rainbows. That's available from Christian News for $12. Then I have here a rather, some would say, controversial editorial, Drug Warrior Hypocrisy by Lawrence Vance of the Future Freedom Foundation, where he comes out, well, this is how his concluding statement. Drug warriors can't have it both ways. No free society is worthy of the name if its government can selectively ban certain drugs. Any prohibition on the manufacture, sale, possession, or medicinal, therapeutic, or recreational use of drugs is an attack on personal freedom. The war on drugs is a war on liberty. A moral and healthy society achieved at the cost of liberty is not worth having. It's controversial. I suggest you read it. Some people say, oh, what's the matter? He's not for drugs. Then here, Cashone paints false picture in CNN big lawsuit. That's from the district president out there, Robert Newton, who says that Pastor Cashone is painting a false picture. You know what's interesting? We know nothing about it. Now all of a sudden he's painting a false picture. You know, they spent over, he points out, they spent over $1 million of mission money already. And I have the Schwartz Report, a communist rally in Washington, D.C., where they point out that communism is not dead. Now, I know the Christian Anti-Communist Crusade. When I was a young man, I attended rallies in St. Louis. That's about 50 years ago. And I met with some of the people. Phil Schlafly was some there, and some prominent anti-communists. Now, here's a statement, the article in the Reporter, presidential report about there be Lutherans in Siberia. And then I have pictures, several of them, of those Siberians now here in our congregation, where we loaded them down with all kinds of Christian literature. All right, maybe I just better see the time is rapidly going here. I'll go to the back page. Kent Verdi, Missouri, thankful for those willing to serve and or support through various donations. Here they're building this new cabin we're here. What's unique about that now? We're calling the first cabin Matthew Cabin. You know why? We have a statue here, you see? The statue of St. Matthew. My son Luke went up to her, our reader, she didn't want her name identified. She made that statue. And it says here, the Gospel according to St. Matthew. It's a rather heavy statue, but we're going to put it there that you can see it all over. And we hope to be able to build Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John cabins. And then also hopefully have also statues there if somebody wants to make them for us. Here then I have support the 50-year education program of Christian News. When these Siberians came, and others from captive nations, Poland and Ukraine, you know, they thought we were really wealthy. So we were loaded with, well, I let them take what you want, but the only reason why we were able to let them have the literature, because with people like you financed us. Those who finance, the big financiers, they're not interested at all in supporting our work. Why? We're not blessed by the bureaucracy. We don't follow their line, see? In fact, we sent Pastor Kurt, I got a story out here. We sent Kurt Marquardt over to Australia, from Australia to Helsinki. And when he was there in Helsinki, my wife went there too, then they pointed out that they were against the, they admitted into the Lutheran World Federation the communist-controlled churches in Estonia and Latvia. Professor Marquardt fought that, and as did the churches in exile. And they pleaded with us to promote their cause. And we were the only publication to promote the cause of the captive nations. Well, God be with you. The passage that we have in front here this week is, remember I'm in chains, Colossians 4:18. God be with you till next week.